What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you about LegalZoom. So this one has been on my watch list for a while. I recently did buy, but with today's price action, I felt justified to do a video. So I wanted to go over what is really prompting it. Is it justified? And go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, it is down 22.42%. And you would think with that, they must have missed on their earnings or something like that. But you'll be kind of surprised based on the news. There's a lot of volume looking at LegalZoom today. So 13.03 million shares being traded. 2.06 is the average. These are some of the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So it does show two, and both are sells. You can tell that based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. Both did occur first thing. Since then, though, it's just been algorithmic trading really kind of carrying LegalZoom higher, especially piggybacking off of the broader market and stuff like that. But the news that did come out was this. So LegalZoom announces leadership transition. So it looks like right here, 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧 has been named the new CEO. The old one is leaving because of, I guess they want to pursue their next chapter in life and whatever else. So yes, this is always one of those sticky scenarios that obviously a CEO is not going to stay there forever. You kind of have to, like, is this believable that they want to be on the next chapter? Plus, with it now being in July, that does mean that Q2 numbers are locked in. Does that insinuate that Q2 numbers are bad, similar to possibly Q1 numbers? So this is where a lot of people are starting to speculate. At the same time, you do have some analyst ratings that did jump all over this, as you can kind of see. So there was 4 new ratings, 2 did give price targets, one of which is $8. Citi, Ronald, who has a 60% success rating, and then Bank of America, sell, $6 rating, and Mike, who has a 50% success rating. In my opinion, it is this Bank of America rating that is really hitting LegalZoom so much today, because in reality this $8 price target is still somewhat okay. Again, I think a lot of these analysts are jumping the gun without truly seeing the numbers. There was a couple that did come out yesterday as well, because this news came out after hours yesterday. And so Jefferies $8 downgrade, and then JP Morgan $9 downgrade. So Brett 48% success rating, and then I've never seen an analyst with 0%, but 0% at JP Morgan. How do you get a job at JP Morgan and have 0%? That's absolutely horrific. But beside the point, and moving on from that though, I'll go over some data points. So the latest Morningstar report for LegalZoom that did come out tail end of last week. So just based on their assets, fair market value is $14.38. So I wanted to bring this up because it kind of portrays what a crazy discount LegalZoom is in. So once again, kind of just be aware of that. And since this is my first LegalZoom video on this channel, I just wanted to go over some of the current ownership. So 166.27 million held by institutions, 7.9 million by strategic entities, then 14.02 million by other, aka retail. So retail owns about 7.45%, majority is institutions. I know this isn't typically what a lot of people like to watch, because typically people want to watch heavily retailed stocks, but in essence, this company is profitable. And this is why I feel like a lot of these ratings aren't really understanding exactly what came out. They're jumping to a lot of conclusions, because in case you do not know, going over their financials, you do see right here, so cash flow quarterly. So they've been profitable for the last since mid-June, and so that is anticipated to continue. And I know the margins did go down slightly from December to March, but nonetheless, I think that was just a one-off kind of scenario. A lot of analysts are just jumping the gun. This is what they do have for cash. So 228.1 million. So definitely they have a good amount of cash on hand. So I did buy in initially at $8.30. I did buy a little bit more today. So I bought, I think it was like 200 shares at $5.50, because honestly, that was a dream. I set different laddered approach because I didn't know how low it was going to go. So I did set a limit at 550, 530. So regrettably that didn't fill, and then one for $5 just in case. But it did have a low of $5.33. So in my opinion, this is a complete overreaction, and the market, especially once their earnings do come out, will correct itself back to the 7 or 8. But I'm not a financial advisor, so you guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. It's not a heavily shorted stock, so I'm just bringing this up more so for analysis. So right now, shorts are increasing about 4,000 shares. And if they felt that today was justified and that news really did kind of justify for it to be at $5 or sub, they would be doubling the hell down. And because you do see right over here through 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗃𝗧, there's around 3 million shares available to be shorted, and it is very cheap to borrow. So 0.41 is what 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗃𝗧 does kind of charge. So if this news today was justified, they'd be doubling the hell down, but they're not. So this is why I do like to analyze this information. But again, 3.4% of the free floats being shorted works out to be 4.28 million shares overall being shorted. Utilization is 1.42, and then short score 31.34. So clearly, LegalZoom isn't a squeeze play based off of all these metrics. Looking at options, 576,000 in calls, 628,000 in puts. Sentiment-wise, 67% of all the options being done today are optimistic and bullish. So once again, showing that today was a overreaction. I can't say this enough because all the data points that's coming out is very optimistic and bullish, with the exception of the ratings. That's single-handedly the only thing that's really driving it lower. So again, that could be justified, could maybe not, depending on how you see that, because that one analyst had a 0% success rating. So that's kind of crazy if you ask me. But of the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be roughly between that $7 and $8 range in the next couple months. Regrettably, they only have monthly call options or monthly options in general, so they don't have weekly. So again, something to keep in mind. Right now with it at 607, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So $5.86 is going to be the next strong support. On the flip side, $7.93 is going to be that next strong resistance / target, which in my opinion, their upcoming earnings will be that deciding point to really push it to this S1 once again. So we'll just have to wait and see. On the actual chart itself, so it really outside the boiling band right here. Aside from that though, which is skewing a lot of this data, kind of making it look weird, like it was slowly on a downtrend, slowly starting to break down. Again, that was kind of piggybacking off of the broader market. Last Thursday and Friday, a lot of consumer linked stocks were really going down. So kind of LegalZoom did get dragged down by that. Stochastic, you do see it very oversold at 15, and you do see at the same time a very bearish deviation. So red line above the white. Number of individual investors, aka typically retail, isn't really buying the LegalZoom dip, as you can kind of tell based on the momentum indicator. So all in all, I do feel that this point right here, we're going back over to the technicals, this S2 is going to hold. It's probably just going to trade within this range up until their earnings. But in my opinion, like I said, take advantage of these discounted prices, because a lot of the signals that I just mentioned all point that today is a crazy overreaction. So this is my first video for LegalZoom. So let me know your thoughts. Have you guys heard of this company? Do you like it? And actually, on a side note, I guess I went over a lot of the data points. If this is your first time, this is what they do. And so you can just read the company profile, pause it, and whatever else. Roughly 1,200 employees based out of Mountain View, California. And so, yeah, I think in general, very good business. It is linked to consumers pretty heavily, which has been causing it to go down slightly, but still nonetheless, I see this as a very profitable business going forward and will continue to be so. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Kick-ass deal, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.